Welcome to Eternal_Sovereign, your fresh haven where ageless wisdom meets modern insights. We're elated to see visionaries, dreamers, and seekers joining us. Here we explore knowledge, creativity, spiritual growth, all designed to inspire and resonate with your journey. As we start this voyage, a blessing. May wisdom guide, discovery thrill, unity strengthen us. We wish each viewer peace, growth. May this channel serve as a beacon of hope and inspiration source. Together we probe the endless possibilities. Amen. Subscribe to join this enlightening journey. Welcome to Eternal_Sovereign. Welcome back, my friends, to the shadows and whispers of the unknown, to the stories that make you question everything, to the mysteries that keep you awake at night. Today we journey to a place where life and death dance a strange and unsettling waltz, a place where the impossible might just be possible. Join me as we unravel the unbelievable story of John Mwangi, the man who cheated death not just once, but again, and again, and again. Prepare to be amazed, prepare to be baffled, prepare to question everything you thought you knew about life and death. In the heart of rural Kenya, amidst rolling hills and fields of golden wheat, lived a man named John Mwangi. Life in this small village was simple but often harsh. John, like many others, struggled to make ends meet, working tirelessly just to survive. But John's life was about to take a turn, a series of turns, that would defy all logic and explanation. He would face death, not as a distant stranger, but as a relentless visitor, knocking at his door time and time again. It began with an accident, a terrible accident that should have ended John's life. Doctors and witnesses alike were certain of it. He was gone. His breath had stopped. His heart no longer beat. But then, something miraculous happened. John Mwangi, the man who was dead, opened his eyes. Confusion reigned. Doctors were baffled. Had they made a mistake? Was this some cruel trick of fate? Word of John's resurrection spread like wildfire through the village, carried on the wind and whispered in hushed tones. Some were amazed, hailing John as a miracle, a testament to the power of faith and the resilience of the human spirit. Others, however, were not so sure. Fear took root in their hearts. Whispers of witchcraft and dark magic filled the air. John Mwangi, the man who had once been their neighbor, their friend, was now viewed with suspicion and dread. The first time John Mwangi died, it was a quiet affair. A simple illness, the village healer had called it, shaking her head sadly. His family, though heartbroken, accepted his passing. They prepared his body according to their traditions, wrapping him in a white shroud. The mourning songs filled the air, carried on the wind across the savannah. Relatives came from far and wide to pay their respects. John was laid to rest in the cool earth, a simple wooden cross marking his final resting place. Life, as it always does, went on. But John Mwangi was not at peace. He awoke to a chilling darkness, a heavy weight pressing down on him. Panic surged through him. He struggled to breathe, to move, to understand where he was. His mind swam with confusion. Memories flickered like dying embers. The illness, the pain, the farewells. Summoning his remaining strength, John pushed against the weight above him. The world spun, a dizzying rush of sensations. He had no idea how long he had been trapped in that suffocating darkness, but as his eyes adjusted, he realized with a growing horror that he was trapped beneath the cold, hard earth. The villagers were gathered around his grave, sharing stories and offering condolences to his grieving family when the earth moved. A collective gasp arose as John Mwangi, covered in dirt and looking like a specter, clawed his way out of the grave. Screams split the air. People stumbled back in terror, convinced they were witnessing a vengeful spirit return to haunt them. John, disoriented and weak, could only watch in bewilderment as his friends and neighbors fled from him in terror. The news of John's return from the dead spread like wildfire, carried on the wind to neighboring villages. He became a living legend, a source of both awe and fear. Some whispered of miracles, of divine intervention. Others spoke of dark magic, of curses and restless spirits. John's life, however, was far from blessed. The villagers treated him like an outcast, a harbinger of misfortune. Children screamed and ran away at his approach. Even his own family, though overjoyed to have him back, couldn't shake the feeling of unease, the sense that something was not quite right. John, for his part, was overwhelmed by the experience. He had been dead. He had seen the darkness, felt the cold embrace of the grave, and yet, here he was, alive. But why? What force had brought him back? Was it a miracle, a curse, or something else entirely, something beyond human comprehension? As time went on and the whispers and stares continued, doubt began to gnaw at John's soul. Was he truly alive, or was he a phantom trapped between two worlds? He yearned for answers, for understanding, for peace. Little did he know that his journey was far from over. Death, it seemed, was not finished with John Mwangi. Life, as it often does, went on in the village. The seasons changed, the crops grew, children were born. But for John Mwangi, life had become a distorted reflection of its former self. The whispers followed him like shadows, clinging to his heels wherever he went. "There he is," they would murmur, their voices laced with a mixture of fear and fascination. "The man who came back from the dead." At first, John tried to ignore them, to pretend that their words didn't sting, didn't chip away at his already fragile sense of self. He tried to resume his old life, to find solace in the familiar rhythms of work and community, but it was no use. The villager's fear was a tangible thing, a wall that separated him from the world he once knew. He was no longer John Mwangi, the farmer, the son, the friend. He was John Mwangi, the anomaly, the enigma, the man who had cheated death. Slowly, inexorably, John's life began to unravel. The villagers, once his friends and neighbors, now avoided him as if he carried a plague. Mothers would quickly usher their children indoors when he passed by, their eyes wide with a mixture of superstition and fear. Merchants in the marketplace would turn their backs on him, pretending not to hear his greetings. Even his own family, though they tried their best to shield him from the worst of the ostracism, couldn't completely hide their own anxieties. Their love for him was undeniable, but it was tainted now with a constant, unspoken fear. John found himself increasingly isolated, alone with his thoughts and the ever-present weight of the villagers' suspicion. He was a prisoner in his own life, trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. As time wore on, the whispers escalated into accusations. The village elders, their faces etched with worry and suspicion, convened meetings to discuss the problem of John Mwangi. Some argued that he was a blessed soul, touched by the divine, and that his return was a sign of favor from the heavens. But their voices were drowned out by those who saw only darkness in John's survival. They pointed to the misfortunes that had befallen the village since his return: a drought, an outbreak of illness, a series of unfortunate accidents. They whispered of curses, of ancient evils, of a balance disrupted. John Mwangi, they declared, was no miracle. He was a harbinger of misfortune, a living embodiment of something sinister and unknown. He was, they concluded, a witch. The weight of the accusations, the fear in the eyes of those he had once called friends, became unbearable. John retreated further into himself, seeking refuge in the solitude of his small hut. Days bled into nights marked only by the rising and setting of the sun. He no longer tended his fields, no longer joined the other men in the evenings for stories and laughter. His once vibrant spirit, the spirit that had defied death itself, was slowly being crushed under the weight of despair. He was a pariah, an outcast, a man living in the shadow of death, yet agonizingly, undeniably alive. What was the point, he wondered, of cheating death only to find himself condemned to a living hell, a prisoner of fear and superstition? One night, as John sat alone in the darkness, the silence broken only by the chirping of crickets and the distant howl of a lone dog, a thought pierced through his despair. He couldn't go on like this. He couldn't let fear and ignorance dictate his life. He would find answers, even if it meant traveling to the ends of the earth. And so, John Mwangi embarked on a new journey, a journey of self-discovery. The decision to leave the only home he had ever known was not an easy one for John Mwangi. Fear warred with a desperate yearning for understanding. Could he find answers beyond the familiar hills and valleys of his childhood? His family, though fearful of the unknown, recognized the depth of his torment. They gathered what little money they could spare, their eyes filled with a mix of apprehension and hope. John embraced them, his heart heavy with the weight of their unspoken fears. He did not know what awaited him on this journey, but he knew he could no longer bear the burden of their terrified whispers, their fearful glances. He would seek out those who might understand, those who held knowledge beyond the superstitions that haunted his village. He would travel to the bustling cities, to the ancient healers, to the very heart of Kenya, seeking answers to the riddle of his existence. Leaving the familiar rhythms of village life, John boarded a crowded bus, his few belongings bundled beside him. As the bus rumbled to life, he watched his past recede into the distance, a bittersweet ache in his chest. The journey was long and arduous, the landscape changing from rolling hills to sprawling savannas, bustling towns, and finally, the imposing concrete jungle of Nairobi. The city overwhelmed him, a cacophony of noise, a whirlwind of humanity, a stark contrast to the quiet rhythms of his village. He felt lost, adrift in a sea of unfamiliar faces. The city held both promise and peril, a labyrinth of possibilities where he hoped to find answers, yet feared getting lost forever. John clung to the hope that somewhere within this chaotic maze lay someone who could shed light on his extraordinary circumstances, someone who might finally understand the burden he carried. John Mwangi's quest led him down a path woven from ancient traditions and modern skepticism. He sought renowned healers, their wisdom rooted in the earth and spirits. Some listened with compassion, others dismissed his story. He encountered doctors, their faces etched with skepticism. John persevered, believing that within this land of contrasts lay the key to his truth. News of John's unusual experiences traveled faster than he could have imagined. His story unfolded, often embellished with each retelling. He became a figure of fascination, drawing crowds eager to hear his tale firsthand. Some saw him as a harbinger of miracles. Others viewed him with suspicion, their eyes clouded with fear and doubt. Through it all, he clung to the hope that his story would lead him to answers. As John Mwangi's journey continued, he felt the weight of expectations pressing down on him. He had become a symbol of hope for some, a source of fear for others, and a walking mystery for all. John realized his journey was no longer just about finding answers for himself. It was about navigating the complex tapestry of belief and skepticism, hope and fear. John Mwangi found a fragile peace amidst the chaos of his extraordinary life. He had come to accept the whispers, the fearful glances, the endless questions. He had learned to navigate belief and skepticism, finding solace in quiet moments of reflection. He had found a strange sort of equilibrium, a fragile piece in the eye of the storm. But fate had other plans for John Mwangi, testing his extraordinary resilience. The night the fire came, it swept through the village with a fury that mirrored John's fear. Within moments, it transformed into a raging inferno, fueled by dry thatch and driven by a relentless wind. Panic gripped the village as flames danced from hut to hut, casting an eerie glow across terrified faces. John's heart pounded as he joined the desperate scramble to contain the blaze. The fire consumed everything, leaving behind smoldering debris and shattered lives. When the smoke cleared, a heavy silence descended upon the village. The air was thick with the acrid smell of ash and loss. Gone were the familiar landmarks and comforting routines. John Mwangi's name was whispered with chilling certainty. He had been trapped within the inferno. No one had seen him escape. The villagers exchanged grim looks, resigned to their loss. John Mwangi had finally met his end, consumed by flames. This time there would be no miraculous return. John Mwangi's story was reduced to ashes. As dawn painted the sky, a sense of weary resignation settled upon the village. Villagers, faces etched with exhaustion, gathered to mourn. They spoke of John Mwangi, a man of wonder and fear, now at peace. A simple grave beneath an acacia tree, a final resting place. The villagers, hearts heavy, prepared to lay him to rest. Whispers carried on the wind. The air was thick with the scent of burnt wood and the murmur of prayers as the villagers gathered around the freshly dug grave. The elders, their faces etched with grief, prepared to lower the shrouded body into the earth. But as the first shovelful of earth was about to be scattered, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. A figure emerged from the savannah, silhouetted against the rising sun. It was John Mwangi, covered in soot and dust, but alive. A collective gasp escaped the lips of the villagers. They stared at him, eyes wide with awe and terror. John Mwangi stood before them, a living testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Friends, we are left with more questions than answers. How could a man cheat death? Not once, not twice, but again and again? Was it divine intervention, a quirk of nature, or something else entirely? Something beyond our current understanding? Even John himself couldn't explain it. He lived with the memory of those dark journeys, the feeling of earth pressing down, the chilling embrace of the grave. Yet, he was alive. The doctors were baffled. Their tests showed nothing out of the ordinary. Science offered no explanations, only puzzled shrugs and hushed whispers in hospital corridors. John Mwangi's story challenges us. It forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge, the boundaries of what we believe to be possible. Life, for John Mwangi, was never easy. The whispers, the fear, the isolation, they left their mark. The man who had stared death in the face so many times bore the scars of those encounters, both visible and unseen. Yet through it all, his spirit remained unbroken. He learned to carry the burden of his experiences with a quiet dignity, a stoic acceptance of the hand he had been dealt. He found solace in the simple things, the warmth of the sun on his face, the laughter of children playing, the love of his family, a love that had endured even in the face of the unimaginable. John Mwangi's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can flicker, and life in all its messy, unpredictable glory finds a way. John Mwangi's story is a powerful reminder of the profound impact of belief. The villagers' beliefs, rooted in ancient traditions and superstitions, shaped their perception of John, transforming him from a neighbor into an anomaly, a source of both awe and terror. Their fear was as real as the air they breathed, as tangible as the earth beneath their feet. And yet so too was their capacity for wonder, for hope, for a belief in something beyond the realm of their understanding. John's story challenges us to examine our own beliefs, to question the stories we tell ourselves, the narratives that shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. For it is in the crucible of belief, in the space between what we know and what we can only imagine, that the truly extraordinary often resides. The world is a vast and mysterious place filled with wonders that defy our current understanding. John Mwangi's story is a stark reminder that we don't have all the answers, that the universe still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. Science, for all its advancements, has yet to unravel the mysteries of consciousness, the nature of life and death, the possibility of realms beyond our perception. John's story is not about finding definitive answers. It's about embracing the unknown, acknowledging the limits of our understanding, and approaching the mysteries of the universe with a sense of humility and wonder. For it is in those moments of awe, when we confront the vastness of what we don't know, that we open ourselves to the possibility of discovering something truly extraordinary. John Mwangi's story is not unique. Throughout history, across cultures, there have been whispers of individuals who defied death, who returned from the brink, who seemed to possess abilities beyond the realm of the ordinary. Are these stories simply myths, legends passed down through generations, embellishments designed to explain the unexplainable? Or do they point to a deeper truth, a hidden reality that we are only beginning to glimpse? From the ancient pyramids to modern laboratories, from the depths of the ocean to the vast expanse of space, the world is filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. John Mwangi's story is a single thread in a tapestry woven from the unknown, a tapestry that stretches back through time and whispers of possibilities yet to be explored. It is a reminder that the world is a far stranger and more wondrous place than we often dare to imagine. John Mwangi's story doesn't end here. It lives on in the hearts and minds of those who heard it, who grappled with its implications, who were forever changed by its message. It serves as a catalyst for further exploration, a spark that ignites the imagination and compels us to seek answers to the universe's most enduring questions. The search for understanding, for meaning, for our place in the grand scheme of things, is a journey that continues. And while we may never fully unravel the mysteries of life and death, of consciousness and the nature of reality, it is in the pursuit of those answers that we discover the true depth and wonder of our own existence. For it is in the asking of questions, in the relentless pursuit of knowledge, that we truly come alive. As we leave the world of John Mwangi, the man who cheated death, let us carry with us a sense of wonder, a thirst for knowledge, and a deep respect for the mysteries that surround us. The world is a tapestry woven from the threads of the known and the unknown, the explainable and the unexplainable. Let us embrace the complexity, the contradictions, the awe-inspiring beauty of it all. And let us never stop asking questions, seeking answers, and striving to understand the universe and our place within its grand, unfolding narrative. Until we meet again, my friends, in the shadows and whispers of the unexplained. If you found John Mwangi's story as captivating and thought-provoking as I did, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more explorations into the mysteries that lie hidden in plain sight. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next descent into the world of the unexplained. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep the flame of wonder alive within your heart. For the world, my friends, is a far more extraordinary place than we often dare to imagine.